We are on. It is live and it is popping. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne, and these will be things you might not have heard. Some you probably actually did pick up on, but these are some new stories. Some of them more lordly toward the fringe, we'll be honest, but some of them are things that are definitely front, top, of the fold news that you may or may not have picked up while the news coverage is going on all day. My name, as I said, Jay Cleveland Payne. I am a veteran news journalist, let's put it like that, and I've been dealing with news coverage for the past 20 years or so on the radio and in television, and now in my new realm of not being duly employed with a current employer doing news and things here on the internet, still keeping this project alive, calling it the Conversation Project because it's all about having great conversations on news stories, basically talking about things, talking things out is what we're doing here on the Conversation Project and with this video cast, if you will, every single morning, more weekday mornings, about 5:50 in the morning. We produce for you some stories that happened in the past. So for Tuesday, we're going to talk about things that happened yesterday. About 30 hours worth of stuff from 5 a.m. this morning to all the way back to midnight the night before. And you get a chance to actually vet in the stories and talk about things that are interesting. And we give you sort of clues on how to make that work out. Not only the clues or actual directions. So we'll tell you directions on how to follow along with our feeds in a bit and how to make sure you can vote up stories that are interesting along the day so that other people will definitely talk about them. And as I said, these are vetted stories. We took about 33 stories that were posted over the last 30 hours, posted over from midnight on Monday. And to the top 15 of them that were in engagement, and now we're going to provide for you 6 of them. Details on 6, I think maybe 7. I might have miscounted. We'll see how that's going. We'll see once the stories start rolling. Let's start the rollings right now as we're going along. So make sure you stop by our main website. This is theconversationproject.com for more details behind what's happening here and how you can help keep things going here as well. Story number 1, and it is the number 1 story based on all of your vetting for the day yesterday. McDonald's says it will sell its Russia business after previously pausing operations due to Ukraine war. CNBC is our source for this one, and this is a really big deal. McDonald's opened in, I think, either the late 80s or early 90s to long lines of American food. In fact, they couldn't source enough American food. So the Russian McDonald's is supplemented with a lot of things, not so much fast food related in Russian culture, but Russian culture things that can be, easily, pretty quickly replicated in the fast food fashion. So it's not just the Big Mick or whatever they call it over there, or quarter pounder Real with cheeses. It's more or less a actual staple in culture in Russia, as McDonald's does what it can in basically all of its areas overseas to ingratiate itself into local culture by putting in meals and things that essentially fit what the locals eat. McDonald's, like many other companies, halted operations in its overseas through Russia and decided recently to just pull up stakes. Now they're going to sell all their franchises, all their buildings, all their stuff to a Russian company that does not have the right to use their branding, not has the right to use their actual logos and their IP stuff. So there'll be the buildings that it's more like illegal McDowell's, if you will. It'll be as a restaurant chain that will take over the buildings and sell stuff out of those buildings so that they can actually be useful. But it won't be the Big Mac. It'll be the Big Mick. There won't be seeds on the buns. You know how it all plays out. This is the first company that just basically said we're flat out done. Most companies are basically waiting for something to happen so they can go back and make that money. This is the first place that's saying we are going to just give it up right now. We're not going to do what McDonald's going forward. McDonald's is a very lucrative location for the Russians and the Russian money. At this point in time, its lucrativity, which is not a real word, has been shut out. Next story. Turkey objects to Sweden, Finland, as Sweden and Finland seek NATO membership. AP News gives this source the 5th story of edit for today. And this is one that's not so complicated, not so crazy, because people kind of like Russia, or people kind of want to keep their Russian support going on. Turkey is one of the countries right now that's basically standing up for Russia. They're not exactly doing it they're doing it on the sly, if you will. They're not being all that vocal about it if they can do that. But Turkey has decided that they are going to be the voice that is going to veto, that's going to try to push out the deals for Sweden and Finland to join NATO. Now, Sweden and Finland, no need to join NATO up until now, as they're learning that their Russian neighbors are all about rolling in and invading places that they think they should have, or they have people reasons to have conflict with just because they can, even though right now it's not going so well of militarily. There are other voices that can eject the things because they have their own reasons, because they don't think things will work out. Just like a trade can be ejected in some in the sports realm because they think it's going to cause a powerhouse. Although in basketball, all they look for is powerhouses. Here, Turkey is the one stepping up for Russia to object to the Sweden, Finland seeking NATO membership, saying it's more of a Turkish thing because, Turkey just doesn't want them in there. Again, Turkey has NATO ties, but they're also sort of working with Putin in a way of appeasing him for what's going on. It's a weird sort of thing. Global politics and the means and wants of the people of various other nations seem to make no sense. And while most people would just think we just want other people not rolling into other people's countries, that gets complicated, unfortunately, a whole lot sooner, a whole lot quicker than it should. Karine Jean-Pierre leads history-making first briefing as White House press secretary. USA Today gives us this one, an 8th story of other vetted stories in ranking today of the apostles we talked about. And this is one that's got a little bit of edge to it based on whom you actually listen to. Now, we call ourselves a tertiary news source. We know we're not your main source of news. We produce a 20-minute thing every single day, and we're just aggregate from other places. So we know you can't be following us because we don't have the time to put all this stuff out there. If you help with the partnerships, then maybe that can happen, but we'll see how that goes going forward. Depending on what sort of news source you look to, it was either a grand, glorious days where the skies opened up and God looked down himself and said, thumbs up, or it was just a dumpster fire. Various right-wing and conservative media said she basically fumbled on answers. Various liberal media was just like, thank God there's a black lesbian person running the show. The honest truth is it's somewhere in between. It was probably more of a basic show, and it's not like it's the first time she's actually been on the stage. It's the first time she has led the actual stage from the podium as the boss and not as the assistant boss. And that's basically what happened yesterday. So yes, it's history as her being officially the first White House press secretary who is black, and officially the first open homosexual White House press secretary. That, I'm going to say in my words, should be less of a historical thing, but representation matters in all cases. We're going to say that there. But for most cases, it was more or less a normal day with a new chief at the front as opposed to the old chief. It wasn't as spectacular probably as people want to make it, but it was a pretty good thing anyway. Johnny Cash Mural is leaking from crude spots after Arkansas water tower gets shot. KansasCity.com gave us this one, and there have been various funny headlines to this one, but we're going to let the picture show explain for itself. You can see as best as possible with this picture we'll have here. We're going to expand it. Of course, Kansas City Star wants to get the money now. Now they want to do this. Maybe later. Thanks. So here we go. If you can see here, if you go to the, or if you can't see it here, go to the link inside of the actual rundown. You can see the water tower. You can see Johnny Cash on the side. That's his silhouette with a guitar. And you can see the spout of water coming from its crotch region because somebody shot the water tower and got a pretty good shot and shot Johnny Cash in the crotch. There have been plenty of headlines all weekend long to kind of make fun of this thing, and some extremely boring ones, because people don't know how to take advantage of a headline of the spot. Our local paper, our September Gazette, had because they had not a lot of space in the headline, like 4 words, had a pretty dull one. But this one right here is one of the more tamer ones going forward. Check out the link. It's going to take a little while. It's pretty expensive. This is a $100,000 buckshot going into the water tower that is still leaking right now, by the way. So that is an issue of safety for the town that this water tower happens to be in, but it also is the butt of jokes because it's the internet. 9-year-old white boy demands see neighbor's black daughter slams whip against door. NewsOnyx.com gave us this one, and we teased this yesterday. And while I hope hopefully this is a true story, NewsOnyx, not exactly MSNBC, which may be a good thing. But this is a story that got all weird, tangled up really bad, really quickly. I'm still in the big screen mode, so we're going to go ahead and do that while we pull up the story here. And this is a story from News Onyx. Here's the picture from the Ring alarm doorbell, which the father of the kid said, "I don't believe my kid walked up to your house with a whip cracking on the door." To which the neighbors had a picture of the boy holding whip cracking on the door. It's basically wanted to see. He just basically wanted her daughter to come outside. And here is the more or less quote that was given when the little boy came to the door, cracking the whip, saying, "Bring your little girl out here. Little boy, you better get your ass off our porch before I call the police. Beating on my door like this, I will call the police. You need to leave. Don't you ever beat on my god bleep door again. Go." That was in the video from the Ring alarm doorbell. She then went to the father of this son who did not believe that this happened. She was able to show proof. It turned to a heated discussion. He was wearing a revolver. The police were called. He was charged with threatening in the situation. It was not a pretty look at all. This was something that did not turn out well, and it's not turning out well because he still has a court case dealing with the incident as it is. Parents, teach your children not to run around cracking whips on people's doors. It's rude. It gets them in trouble. It gets you in trouble when you start a fight, as you say, "No, my little Johnny could not have took a whip and cracked it against your door." And you're presented with video evidence. This is one you might want to go take a look at in the rundown and see if it's something that you need to get deeper into, because there were so many things about this one to go into from yesterday. Ransomware gang threatens to overthrow Costa Rican government. This is true. APnews.com gives this one. A ring of ransomware people, thieves, thugs, bandits, vandals, are threatening to take down literally an entire government using ransomware and using malware because unsafe things. This is going to be a very quick glance over story, but this is one that you got to pay attention to. No matter how big an organization you are or how little you think your stuff means, there's someone who can look for a hole and make effectively a jump in your electronics and take over your stuff. I can tell you exactly. I've been hit with 2 ransomware attacks on personal machines over the last decade, where Microsoft tells you, well, you have to pay us some money or we can't unlock your thing. That's how the support works. And in most cases, because of if you're a regular individual, the amount of money, unless it's like, Amazon gift cards, is not enough to crack a real case, and you end up paying for that. That's why it's good to make sure you're defended. So it's good to make sure you have virus protection updated. Good to make sure you don't go to any weird sites, and don't let strange people, and by strange people, not necessarily people you don't know, but people who are just necessarily strange, who go to strange sites, play around with your electronics, especially kids, because kids are just boop, 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 booping all the time. And you never know what random thing they pop up, or what they pop into, and what it can turn into, and what flashing light they will hit that you know better not to touch. And finally, Indian couple longing for grandchild sues son and wife. This one barely made it, but when I popped it in there, it was one of those, I got to fill the space type things. And guess what? The space was filled with a great picture and a great story, oddly enough, of these two right here. This is the couple who want to be grandpas and grandmas so badly, they sued their son and their daughter-in-law to say it's about time to start pumping out the kids. We're not getting any younger. We're going to make this happen. You're going to make this happen. Get to work. It happened, or it was lawsuit happened. Let's put it that way. Check out the link for the full story and see how the resolution is at the moment. The parents, not exactly thrilled about their parents suing them to become real parents. If that all works itself out. Somehow it all does in the grand scheme of things. Let's go to a teaser story for what may be tomorrow, what we may talk about tomorrow if you think this is a big one to go through. And we're going to basically have more in as we learn more about the shooting in Buffalo. There were 5, I believe, a total of 5 mass shootings, maybe 6. I'm trying to picture the graphic I saw in my head on one of the newscasts, including the one that we posted late into the weekend, early into the Monday. That was the shooting at the flea market in Houston. It didn't get much love until after the other 2 basically turned up and really got a lot of attention. So think about that. We're going to talk about, if you want to, this person here whose name is Christopher Burden. I'm sure I'm messing that up. Peyton Gendron, who was the shooter in Buffalo, essentially went into the store, shot a bunch of people up, shot this man here who was hiding to try to escape from the carnage. When he turned the corner and there was Gendron standing there with the gun, he apologized to the man for shooting him because he was white and moved on to the rest of the store. This is something that is going to be a whole lot of layers of stuff to talk about. So if you really, really, really want to get into this, you can vote this up in the engagement going forward. We'll explain that in a moment. But first, let's explain about Fundrise. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com/fundrise and get yourself in for a great deal. They're going to offer you extra shares into their real estate funds. Now, right now, we are dealing with a time where money is a little sketchy right now. And it's because the markets are fluctuating all over the place. People who are traditionally put their money into the stock market, which you should still do, are seeing extreme dips because of a lot of things, global economic things, global political things, and sometimes just silly things that your guys do here in your local government. Stock market is a great place to be, and right now things are down. So if you want to invest in the stocks, invest in bonds, invest in munis and things like that, go ahead and check them out, do your research, and make sure you're getting on one that is just on the dip and not on the complete decline. But a new way to get yourself into diversifying your portfolio is by going to Fundrise. It's a different way to get into real estate investing by not going and buying houses and flipping yourselves, but buying into funds, buying into property management deals that go out and buy properties and manage them or sells them, or commercial properties and manages them or sells them for your benefit. And right now, they're offering you free shares into their funds by going in and being a brand new investor. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com/fundrise and get into real estate investing. I've always couldn't figure out how to get into real estate investing. I'm always trying to get into these big funds, but they really were really big. You need a lot of money to actually join into me. This is a case where it's not the case. It doesn't take very much. You don't have to put in very much. You can get started on a low end. And as you get larger and larger, you will see your literal dividends come to bear. So check it out by going to thisisaconversationproject.com/fundrise. And they're going to offer you up free shares to match what you put into your limits based on a pact. Remember, this is affiliate link, so we get a little bit for you showing up at Fundrise, but you can check them out. They are an awesome way to diversify your portfolio. Thisisaconversationproject.com is our main website. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com and you can support us by stepping by and clicking on our sponsors page. You can go there and click on the partnerships page and directly support us. You can also follow the feeds and get some interesting backgrounds on what we've been doing all this time. The feeds are on Facebook and Twitter, respectively. So go to Facebook and find us at This Is a Conversation Project, and Twitter, th_conversation. As you are following along with our feeds, we post a new news story onto those feeds every 50 minutes. Read them and keep up what's going on with your news. We are not your main source of news. We are your news side piece because we know you're loving some Fox News and some Newsmax, but you know you got to come to us every so often because we give you exactly what you want. Come and see what we have. The more engagement the story gets, the higher score it gets in the morning. We cut it off at 5 in the morning, weekday mornings, and then we rank them by engagement. Tuesday through Friday, we'll give you the top from the top 15 stories, the top half of the stories. We gave about 7 today, and we'll do what we can to give you some stories that are a bit off the beaten path, but also give us a chance to conversate, because it is about conversation. Some of the bigger news stories that you guys said were there as well. You guys vet them plus some algorithm magic, so it goes there as well. If you're not seeing this, which I'm pretty sure you are seeing this on a Tuesday, follow us on this at thisisaconversationproject.com/YouTube, a link to our YouTube channel. We need more subscribers, so subscribe and hit notifications so you get the live notifications when this happens every morning. And of course, we need more subscribers to get our custom names. We're working on that as well. A few more today things that you might have heard of. Let's start with birthdays for Craig Ferguson, turning 60 years old today. Harper Hill hitting 56, and Derek 37 years old. I always mess up his name, but Derek, the dancer from Dance with the Stars, he's 37 years old today. And in really big font, it's Dinosaur Day. Who does not love dinosaurs? If you don't, you may not be American or Ukrainian or French or whatever, because everybody loves a good dinosaur. Everybody loves Barney. There you go. And finally, one last thing to go out the door with that you might not have heard of 1 million cardinals. These are the birds, not the guys in the pointy hats that go to church. Of the millions of cardinals that are in the United States, there are an estimated 10 to 15 that are yellow. Not 10 to 15,000, not 10 to 1,500, 10 to 15 cardinals in the entire nation that fly around the United States may be yellow as opposed to red. There you go. Something that you probably had no idea was out there. And the internet told me that. So that's all I got for that one. This has been Things You Might Not Have Heard for Tuesday, May 17th, 2022. I am still Jay Cleveland Payne. This has been a amalgam, which I are totally butchered, of news stories that you said were kind of cool to talk about. You said were interesting and needed some more love, so we gave a lot more love to them. And some of them, plenty of love, but a different perspective from me, if you will. You'll be a chance to get some deeper perspective from one of our podcasts we have that's called You're Welcome, where I go deeper into a news topic, saying things that you wish that you could say, but I'm going to say them for you, and hopefully I won't get in trouble in the process. Thanks so much on people showing up live, including Christina with a K, my beautiful wife, chiming in on the Facebook with her comments as well. Loving the Indian couple story, but also saying it's very sad, and it is. And if you're in that situation, it's not so much a joke, but it is a really sad story that they're so longing to be grandparents that they have to sue their children to actually produce children. And it's really on that level. But it's not all about sadness and grandchildren. It's about news stories, articles that you guys want to talk about. And that's one you did want to talk about. You can tell me what stories we'll talk about tomorrow, and we'll do that tomorrow right here on this same BAT channel or U channel or Facebook channel or same BAT station. Let's get ready for tomorrow today. We'll do it tomorrow.